cost. So this is one area I feel is the most important, where we need to rationalize our policy and bring the market rate to a level where the industry becomes more competitive. We have got the cheap labor, we have got the right kind of the skill. So once we introduce the right energy policy, we would be, I'm pretty much sure, in a position to become a manufacturing hub in the region. The right kind of the energy policy is that you give electricity per unit which is in competition with India, with Bangladesh, with Sri Lanka, and under more or less under 8 cents per unit.
Timeline for that?
Sooner the better. but industrialization is one of the area where we are focusing on special economic zones, and bringing all these policies where the FDI would directly take advantage from such kind of interventions from the government side, and we should only do the progressive taxation of those business entities and let them grow.
You mentioned about the Belt and Road Initiative last year, celebrated already the 10th anniversary. We also see a transition about the areas and the ways of doing things regarding BRI. Earlier there was massive investment on infrastructure, different parts of the world. Now there seems to be more focus and targeted with green development and sustainability. So what does that mean for the kind of cooperation between China and Pakistan as a result of the focus and the style changes?
I think so. There are many opportunities when it comes to all these initiatives under these sustainable and green initiatives, and the kind of opportunities it is offering, which I was referring towards the relocation of the industry, the climate change and its global responsibility, production of clean energy, and for the consumption, best consumption practices for the populations. This would be an area where innovation would be counted, where new technologies would come in, and where...
And also massive investment, by the way.
Of course, massive investment, which definitely China has got the capacity to cater for such investments along with its partners. But Pakistan is a mid-sized country which can benefit a lot from this. As they say it in China, that when China grows, everyone grows. So when China benefits, everyone benefits. The Chinese model, the best part about that is that it believes in economic intervention, it believes in the win-win situation, it believes in mutual coordination and cooperation. So when you have such an attitude, the creativity comes. The new solution-based approaches develops, and the human journey, I think so it is, it goes further.
Mr. Prime Minister, it's very articulative when you say when China grows, everybody could also have an opportunity to grow. But as you also have noticed, Mr. Prime Minister, as earlier articulated by the Chinese Premier during this speech then, but China also is now looking at the future growth. So you see, China is also trying to think about new ways, but not necessarily having all the answers. So there was earlier thoughts about the so-called China model. Now, many things are changing all at the same time. How do you see China is trying to still rediscovering as they go along what is the best practices? What does that mean for developing countries, emerging economies, Pakistan always, of course, included?
To countries like us and the people who are residing outside the Chinese society, this approach where there are no answers but there are still questions is so encouraging that the engagement is the basic principle. The people are open to listen to different kinds of answers. They are exploring, they are searching, and that's how the entire universe can unfold its own mysteries and secrets. The challenge becomes, or the issue becomes, when there is an attitude of rigidity, that there is a fixation, that a typical kind of political system or economic system would give the entire answers for all the panacea of the world, that becomes part of the problem. But if you are open to ideas, if you are open to discussions, and you are willing to give opportunity to different kind of solutions which are available in the market, that leads toward the healthy discourse, and that's where I think so the Chinese approach will be more viable and more constructive and more engaging.
Mr. Prime Minister, one of the issues Pakistan, China, and many others are thinking is, what about this divide between the so-called North and the global South? And we see that it's ever widening as a result of the pandemic and other issues happening, especially recently with the development of artificial intelligence. Some believe it could be in the next industrial revolution. Well, that's a question mark, but still the concern is big. How are you articulating what we are experiencing right now?
Well, the issue or the divide between the so-called North and South is that there is certain economic advantages to the individuals and nations, and there are certain disadvantages to the individuals and nations on the other side. So how do that gap can be well addressed? It is leading towards anxiety. One, it is encouraging probably disruption in many societies, and on the top you have got these new technology which either is enabling the social order or it is encouraging the disruption or leading towards the anarchy, starting from the digital space and then the electronic spaces to AI. This is a journey which has taken so swiftly that many leadership, be it in South or in the North, are it's very, very challenging for them to fathom the implications of all these changes which are happening. Would it lead to mass migration? Would it lead to further conflicts based either on identity or on the basis of have and have-nots? Can that kind of sense of deprivation lead to conflicts? So these are all challenges which needs to be addressed, and for a mutual coexistence between the so-called South and North, further needs dialogue, further needs discussion with an open mind and open heart, where a planet is available for everyone, be it West, South, North, East, where peacefully everyone can reside with a dignified sense of being.
Of course, we're not living in a perfect world, as you know, Mr. Prime Minister. Geopolitics, geoeconomics, all these backdrops are all intertwining at this moment when we speak. So is that the kind of discussion, do you think, can take place at all?
The discussions are already happening. The discussions are already happening in a very focused, limited intellectual groups, policymaker groups, political class, business.